Hi guys, it's Webby. Welcome to another video. Today we're having another look at one of the new 2022 Ford Rangers, and today we're concentrating on the mid-range XLT model. So there's 5 new models in the Ranger lineup this year. We've got XL, XLS, XLT is slap bang in the middle, and then we've got Sport and Wildtrak. So the XLT is quite good because it's where you start to get some of the nice gadgets on the car. You pick up things like those C-clamp LED headlights and some other nice features like that as well. So that's why today we're concentrating on the XLT. Now there's a lot to take in with the XLT. There's a couple of different engine options, there's a couple of different body styles, and you can have it as 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive as well. So there's actually quite a lot to take in. I'm going to show you around the car. We'll have a look around at some of the features you get on the XLT as opposed to the lower models in the range. We'll have a look at the inside as well to do the same and look at some of the features you get there as well. And then I'll talk to you about the different body styles you can get and then pricing, bits and pieces like that as well. If you've got any questions or comments about what we go through in this video, leave them below for me and I'll come back to you as soon as I can and answer all your questions. Because yeah, there may be something that I haven't answered that you need to know, or there might be something that I mentioned that you think, can you elaborate a little bit further on that? Then yeah, drop a question below and I'll answer it for you. So, starting off with how the model lineup works. So you've got your traditional dual cab like we've got here. You can get that as a 4x2. That's with the 2-litre bi-turbo engine. There's no choice with the V6 with the 4x2 model. When you go to the 4x4, you can get the 2-litre bi-turbo, which is your part-time 4-wheel drive. So that's like we had on the old model where you have the little switch down by the gear stick. So you can switch between 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and then 4-low. When you go to the 3-litre V6, you get the same features as the 4-wheel drive system in the bi-turbo, but you can also have full-time 4-wheel drive as well. So if you are someone that maybe lives in an area where full-time 4-wheel drive will be a benefit, then obviously the 3-litre will give you that. The other option with the dual cab is you can get a cab chassis. So if you're thinking of putting a tray on the back of your ute, or a body or something like that, you can get the cab chassis as a dual cab, but with a 3-litre V6 turbo diesel. The last option is a super cab. So that's where you get the smaller cabin and the much bigger tray, and that only comes with the 2-litre bi-turbo engine, so you get the part-time 4-wheel drive system. So that's the lineup. I'm going to put that all on the screen for you as a bit of a sort of spreadsheet, if you like, so you can see which model gets which drivetrain and which body shape. I'll also put on there the cost of the vehicle. Bear in mind that will not include on-road costs, so you've got to take into account the delivery, stamp duty registration for whichever state you happen to live in. So yeah, I'll put it all on the screen for you, just so it's a little bit easier to understand and you can pick out which model might be of interest to you. Now let's have a look around the outside of the XLT, because I want to show you some of the features that you now get on the XLT that weren't available on the models further down the range. So we start off at the front. The first thing we get, in which is quite a big sort of step up from the lower models, is you get the full LED headlights with these C-clamp LED daytime running lamps. The XLT is distinguishable by this chrome strip across the front, which is what we had on the previous model. Under the bonnet, this is the dual cab, so you can have the choice of the 2-litre bi-turbo. That's got 154 kilowatt and 500 newton meters of torque, running through the 10-speed auto. You've then also got the 3-litre V6 turbo diesel. That's 184 kilowatt and 600 newton meters of torque, again running through the 10-speed automatic. As I mentioned a minute ago, the 2-litre bi-turbo is the part-time 4-wheel drive system, where the 3-litre V6 is the full-time 4-wheel drive system. Get my words out. So yeah, so the chrome strip across the front is how you can distinguish the XLT from some of the other models in the range. If we come around to the side, we've got the black plastic wheel arches, which is standard throughout every model in the range as well. We've got these 17-inch sparkle grey alloy wheels, which look quite nice. Good contrast to the white paintwork on this particular model. So overall, the headlights and the chrome strip point out the fact that this is an XLT versus any of the other models. So coming around to the side of the XLT, there's a couple of different changes from last year's model. Things you'll notice are the door mirror caps and also the door handles are now body coloured, whereas on the previous model they were chrome to match the chrome strip along the front grille. We still get the front steps. You've got this nice little chrome section just around the air intake there, and obviously it tells you this is the bi-turbo engine. We've got the privacy glass as well, which we had on the XLT on the previous generation. And then we've also got this matte black sports bar. Again, previous model had it as chrome, but now it's changed to matte black, and it's a slightly sort of extended design which goes slightly further down the back of the tub. This particular vehicle has got one of the factory option packs, which is called the Touring Pack. So you've got this little notch underneath the door mirror, which is for the 360 cameras, and then just underneath you've got the lighting for the exterior zone lighting. So that Touring Pack is your integrated brake controller, these 360 cameras and the exterior zone lighting. I'll show you the electronic brake controller when we go inside the vehicle, which is just down by the steering column. And then coming around to the back, these lower sections are body coloured as well. So again, previous model they were chrome. The XLT is the first model in the range to get the factory fitted tow bar and 12-pin plug. So that's again like the previous model, but yeah, fantastic to see a tow bar on the back. The tailgate locks with the central locking as well. On the previous model that was only ever on the Wild Track. On the new model that's actually from XLS upwards, so the model below the XLT, which is a really handy feature so you don't forget to lock your tailgate when you lock the rest of the vehicle. Then inside we've got the factory fitted tub liner as well, and on the inside just to the left we've actually got a 12-volt power socket. So this is very similar to what we had on the previous XLT, but what you'll notice is the design of the tub liner has actually changed slightly. These ridges here are much wider, so if you're going in the back of your tub and actually kneeling on the floor, your knee has got a much bigger area to sit on rather than sort of the ridges it had before, so it's actually much more comfortable. Now with the rear lights on the new Ranger, and this is obviously inclusive for the XLT, this section here is your blind spot monitor. So like most other vehicles on the road, the blind spot monitor will have the little light built into the door mirror to alert you of any traffic in your blind spot. What you can also do on the new Rangers is if you're going to be towing something, is you can actually put the measurements of what you're towing, say your van or whatever, into the Sync 4 system on the dashboard, and then the blind spot monitor will compensate for the distance of whatever you're towing, which I think is actually a really clever idea. Now like all models of the new Ranger, the space inside the tub is actually bigger than the old model. They've put the suspension on the outside of the leaf springs underneath the vehicle, which makes these wheel arch intrusions much smaller, which means the gap between the wheel arches is a lot bigger. You can actually fit a Euro size pallet in here now, so you do get much more space in the back of the tub. Now I'm going to put on the screen a chart which shows all the payloads for the different models of the XLT, so you can decide which model is going to be best for you when you're towing or if you're carrying stuff, so you don't go over your weight limits. So yeah, there'll be a chart on the screen now, so you can have a look at the different payloads for the different models. As with all the other models in the Ford lineup, the Ranger gets a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. Cap price servicing is available for retail customers and also Blue Fleet customers, so small businesses basically. And the first 4 are capped at $329 per service, up to 60,000. Servicing is still 12 months or 15,000 Ks like the previous model Ranger. One thing I did forget to mention as we were looking around the side of the car a minute ago is the XLT is the first model in the range to get rear disc brakes as well. That's irrelevant of which model you choose, it's throughout the whole XLT lineup. Now if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell because that will tell you every time a new video goes live. I've already done some videos on the new Ranger lineup and there will be plenty more to come. So make sure you are subscribed and then you'll be able to find out all the information about this new 2022 Ranger. So next we're going to have a look at the inside of the vehicle, look at some of the new features and some of the features you get on the XLT versus the other models. Right, let's go and have a look inside this XLT then. Keyless entry standard on XLT, which is nice to see, same as the previous model. We've got the funky door handle there, which I quite like, window mirror switches there. The mirrors fold in automatically when you lock the car, which is quite nice to see as well. We've got a cloth interior, which I actually quite like. These seats are actually really comfortable. They're nice and soft to sit in, but they're supportive at the same time. They've got like a two-tone effect. You've got this sort of plain charcoal section at the front, and this patterned lighter grey section in the middle. Now I can say nice comfortable seats. We've got height adjuster, we've got lumbar support there for the driver's seat, and obviously we've got the backrest adjustment there as well. Let's jump inside and have a look at some of the other features too, which make the XLT a little bit more plush than the lower models. So this is the view ahead of the driver in the XLT. It's actually the first model in the range to get a leather steering wheel. It also gets the push button start as well, which isn't on the lower models, unless on the XLS you get the technology pack. But if you take just a standard vehicle, then yeah, it's the first model in the range to get push button start as standard. So you've got the same digital display as you get in all the other models. We've got the 10.1 inch Sync 4 infotainment system. The XLT again is the first model in the range to get dual zone climate control as standard. It's an option on the XLS, but in terms of standard equipment, the XLT gets it first. This is the controls for the integrated electric brake controller, which is part of the optional touring pack that I mentioned earlier. So in addition to that, you get the 360 cameras and also the exterior zone lighting as well. So the XLT is the first model in the range to get this automatic dipping rear view mirror, which is quite nice to have. And then if we come down just below the dual zone climate control, you can see this little storage area here where you can pop your mobile phone. We've got a USB-A and a USB-C fast charging point, so you can charge 2 phones at once. And then just down there, a little bit of storage as well. You don't get the wireless charging, unfortunately. That's only in the sport model and above. We've got a couple of cup holders. This is the 2-litre bi-turbo engine. So we've got the traditional gear stick here as opposed to the smaller E-shifter that you find in a 3-litre model. We've got the electronic parking brake. And then just below that, we've got the buttons there. So we can turn off the parking sensors. We can turn off the traction control. We can engage the rear diff lock. That one there is your downhill descent control. And then the top right hand one is your different driving modes. Over to the left there is the traditional button to switch between 2 high, 4 high and 4 low. So that's the same as what we had in the previous gen, although the button looks slightly different. Looking around the cabin, it's a lovely place to be. I like this sort of textured plastic kind of on top of the dashboard there. You've got a little shelf there as well, glove box there just underneath. But it's actually a really nice sort of place to be. It feels a little bit more a vehicle that a sort of family would use as a lifestyle rather than sort of more of a tradies ute. Well, obviously tradies do drive these as well. Steering wheel, you've got the traditional buttons there, which will operate some of the functions in front of you on the screen. You've got your adaptive cruise control over here. Now the XLT is the first model in the range where the adaptive cruise control will bring you to a dead stop. On the previous models below it doesn't do that, but the XLT does get the adaptive cruise control, which will bring you to a complete stop. Now the driving position in the XLT is really nice as well. As I mentioned earlier, these seats are really comfortable. We've got plenty of adjustment, and the steering wheel, for the first time in a Ranger, you can actually adjust it up and down and in and out, so you can actually get your perfect driving position. So I'd put mine about there. That's superb. Yep, really liking that. Let's jump in the back and see how much space is behind me, because there's actually more space inside the cabin as well now. The dashboard is pushed back further towards the windscreen, so the front passengers sit slightly further forward, so that creates more space in the back. So let's have a look and see how much space we actually get. Now I've got my driving position sorted. Well, getting into the back of the XLT is pretty easy. You can see the doors open nice and wide. I've also got plenty of legroom here as well. I mean, I'm only 5'6", so whoever sits behind me is always going to have a lot of space. But even so, you can stretch your legs out nicely as well. And your feet, yeah, they fit under the seat in front of you sort of quite well. If you've got really big feet, that might not happen. But yeah, as you can see, I've got acres of leg space. I've also got a pretty decent amount of headroom as well, which is quite nice. There's a little map pocket in the back of the seat. There's also one there on the back of the passenger seat as well. We've got rear air vents as well, which is lovely to see. So anybody sitting in the back isn't going to sort of swelter in the sun when everybody in the front is nice and cool. We've also got a 12-volt socket down there for rear passengers so they can plug in devices. We've got the traditional fold-down armrest. That's also got a couple of cup holders in there as well, which is quite nice. The 2 outer seats, you can actually put a baby seat in there with ISOFIX mounting points, so that's good to see as well. But yeah, just the general It's lovely and comfortable back here. These seats are nice and soft. Windows are a decent size, but you also get a really good view ahead of you as well. So it feels nice and light and airy in the cabin, helped by the fact you've got this lighter headlining. So it's actually a really nice place to be. Yeah. Now, a couple of other things. There's a little bit of storage behind the back seat. There's a little loop which you can pull up, and then you can probably see there's actually a little bit of storage behind there as well. You've got your jack around there, so if you need to change tyre, that's under there as well. And then there's a little loop down here which you can pull out, and then this base of the seat actually lifts up, and there's storage sections either side as well. And underneath you'll also find your toolkit. Now, in terms of factory fitted options for the XLT, we start off with things like all-terrain tyres, so you can swap these standard tyres for all-terrains. On the dual cab pickup models, you can have a spray-in tub liner. On the four-wheel drive models, you can have the touring pack on the dual cab pickups, obviously, which consists of the integrated brake controller, the 360 cameras and the exterior zone lighting. And on the 4x2 dual cab pickup model, you can have an integrated electric brake controller. So there's a few options for you to choose from when you order your vehicle from the factory. So there you go then. That's a quick look at the brand new 2022 Ford Ranger XLT. If you've got any questions for me, please leave them below in the comment section and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. If you have enjoyed the video, give it a like, share it with your friends as well so they can get to understand about this new Ranger XLT. Subscribe to the channel, also hit the notification bell, and that will tell you every time a new video goes live. There's plenty of content coming with new Rangers throughout the year as I find out more features and also maybe answer some of your questions, make more videos as well. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. So that just leaves me to say thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.